The greatest curse upon the chosen is not the burden they carry, but the vision they cannot unsee. You spoke what others refused to acknowledge, and for that, they mocked you. They laughed, dismissed you as delusional, and branded you as unstable. Every warning was met with scorn. Every truth you revealed was treated as madness. Yet time has proven merciless. Reality itself has bent toward your words. The very prophecies they swore would never unfold now rise before their fearful eyes. The silence of their mockery is louder than their jeers ever were. They are shaken, not because you were wrong, but because you were never the fool. The blindness was theirs. And to you, the one who saw, this message belongs. Receive it, claim it, and help it reach those who need to hear it. Press like, subscribe, and let the truth spread beyond the walls of silence. Because this is not about algorithms. This is a summons, a call to arms in the war between truth and deception. It is for the awakening ones, the silenced ones, the fighters who endured the shadows. You felt the storm before the skies darkened. You carried knowledge before the world was ready to understand. It was never mere intuition. It was sight beyond sight, a knowing that pierced illusions. While others clung to false security, you walked the edge of reality and saw through its fractures. For that, they feared you. They rejected you. For nothing unsettles the blind more than a seer who refuses to close their eyes. Even your presence carries weight. When you enter, the air shifts. They feel it's something unshaken, untamed, undeniable. They scramble to dismiss it, to explain it away, but deep down they know the truth. You are not like them. You do not move like them. You do not think like them. And above all, you do not bow like them. That is why they fight so hard to break you. But a storm does not tremble before the wind, and neither should you. Their hatred is not random. It is the reflection of their own lack. You embody the strength they never possessed. You carry the vision they were too weak to claim, the sight they were too blind to bear. And nothing enrages the deceiver more than the presence of one who cannot be deceived. So they tried to isolate you, to drown your truth in their noise. Yet truth does not bow to silence. Truth roars, it shakes the ground beneath falsehood.
And now, the very words they mocked have taken shape.
What they swore would never happen has already come to pass. Every prophecy, every warning now stands undeniable before their unwilling eyes. They cannot brand you as insane anymore. They cannot dismiss you because reality itself has become your witness. This is not a season for vengeance. It is a season of revelation. Soon, they will crawl back, desperate to know how you foresaw what they denied. But this time, the power is not theirs to demand. You owe them nothing. Your task is not to rescue those who spat in your face. Your task is to rise to step into the destiny carved for you since the beginning. Let them whisper, let them tremble as their illusions collapse. You are not bound to explain. You are not called to comfort. You are here to lead, to embody the living proof that truth cannot be chained. The chosen were never meant to blend into the crowd. You were always set apart. And now, as the world fractures under the weight of its own lies, your presence is no longer a curse. It is the sign of something greater. They called you delusional, but the terror in their eyes now confirms what was true all along. You were right. And so, let us break this down. If you are truly chosen, you will feel the pull to remain to the very end. This is not a casual message. This is your confirmation, the proof that what they laughed at, ridiculed, and dismissed has unfolded in front of them. So leaning in, because by the time we finish, you will not only see the truth, you will claim it. Let us begin. Number 1. When reality strikes them in the face, their laughter dies. They mock what they fear. They deny what they cannot command. But when truth rises like a mountain, their arrogance collapses beneath it. They named you insane, a fool, a dreamer, lost in shadows. Yet it was their blindness, not yours, that doomed them. Every time you spoke, they dismissed it. Every warning you gave, they laughed away. They mistook ignorance for safety, as though denial could shield them. But ignorance is not protection, it is a time bomb. And now it has detonated. Piece by piece, with ruthless precision, everything they swore would never come to pass has unfolded before them.
And the one they cast aside, the outcast they ridiculed, was right all along.
They feel it now, the weight of your words pressing down like a storm they cannot escape. Their smirks have vanished. Their arrogance lies in ruins. And the fear in their eyes is the confession they cannot speak.
The tables have turned.
Control has slipped from their grasp, and that terrifies them most of all. For when reality unmasks a lie, there is nowhere left to run. But you, chosen one, you were forged for this. You walked through fire, endured the storms of mockery, and emerged unbroken on the other side. What they scorned in you, your sight, your knowing, has become the very power that exposes them. And they despise it. They despise that you still stand, stronger than ever, beyond their reach. They whisper behind closed doors, desperate to unravel your strength. But the truth gnaws at them. They were never meant to understand. Not all are born to see beyond the surface. Some exist only to follow, to hide in the comfort of illusions, to cling to the safety of lies. But not you. You were born with vision. You were born with knowing. And that knowing set you apart from the beginning. Now they will return pretending they never doubted, pretending they always believed. Some will come for guidance. Some will attempt to twist your truth into their own, and some will try to drag you back into their shallow world to erase the shame of their ignorance. But remember this, you owe them nothing. You owe them nothing. Not explanations, not forgiveness, not even recognition. They made their choice when they branded you insane. Now they must live beneath the weight of that choice. But you are never truly alone. Scattered across the earth are others like you, silent warriors, walking the same narrow path, bearing truths they cannot explain but feel burning within their bones. And now that truth rises. No longer hidden in whispers, no longer dismissed as fantasy, it stands revealed, undeniable and unstoppable.
So stand tall.
Let them tremble as they face what their minds could never contain. Their fear is not your burden. Their regret is not your responsibility. This is not revenge, it is validation. The proof now lies before them. They cannot escape it. Drop a comment below. I was never crazy. I was always chosen. And with that, we move forward. Number 2, the weight of knowing when the truth you carry becomes the stone that crushes them. This is the curse of the awakened, to carry a truth too heavy for the fragile to hold. They called you delusional, a dreamer lost in lies. They whispered in the shadows, smirked in your presence, and recoiled as though your truth was a plague. Society has always kept one rule: conform or be cast out. And you broke it simply by existing, simply by seeing what they refused to see. The cost was brutal. Friends faded like dusk shadows. Family exchanged uneasy glances when your words cut too close. Strangers wounded you with the blade of ridicule. You were not merely misunderstood, you were feared. For nothing terrifies the masses more than one who will not bow to illusion, one who pierces the veil, one who cannot be deceived. And that was you. To them, you were dangerous. You felt the burden in every stare, in every whisper behind your back, in every cold shoulder turned against you. And in your darkest hours, the questions gnawed at you. Were they right? Was I lost in imagination? Should I silence myself to be accepted? Should I pretend blindness just to escape this weight? The war was not only outside, it burned within. Loneliness pressed down. Doubt whispered its poison. And the temptation came like a false comfort. Abandon what you know, and you will find peace. But peace built on lies is no peace at all, and you knew it. That knowledge became both your torment and your crown. The world demanded that you conform. It screamed for you to be normal, to fall in line, to surrender the fire within and call it fantasy. Yet something in you refused. Beneath the mockery, beneath the loneliness, beneath the crushing weight of their pressure, there remained something unshakable, an inner knowing that could not be erased. No ridicule could kill it. No rejection could bury it. You tried to silence it. You tried to drown it out. But truth does not beg for permission. It does not need validation. It simply is. And in the silence of the night, it whispered to you, "This is real." That whisper became your anchor. And now look at them, the very ones who laughed, who scorned, who mocked. Their voices are gone. Their laughter has curdled into confusion. Their pride melted into fear. The truth they once denied now glares too brightly to ignore. And so they scramble. They rewrite their own history, pretending they never doubted, pretending they always stood with you. But the past does not lie. You remember the insults, the betrayals, the moments they made you question yourself. Their regret is not your burden, for you stood when no one else would, held fast when the whole world called you insane. That defiance, that endurance, that is power. It is a power they will never understand, for they never had the courage to carry truth the way you did. They will ask how. They will demand answers. How did you know? Why could you see what they could not? But the truth is simple, they were never meant to see. Not every soul is built to handle what lies beyond the veil. Some exist only to follow, to cling to illusions, to laugh at what unsettles them. That is why they rejected you. Not because you were wrong, but because your very existence shattered the falsehoods they depended on. And now you are free. Free from needing their approval. Free from seeking their understanding. Free from the suffocating weight of their ignorance. What once set you apart as a curse has revealed itself as your crown. The burden of truth was never placed on you to crush you. It was placed to set you apart. So, let them watch. Let them scramble. Let them wrestle with the reality that while they stumbled in blindness, you saw with clarity. You owe them nothing, not explanations, not apologies, not acceptance. They chose their path when they turned their backs. Now they must live beneath the weight of that choice. Number 3, from laughter to silence when mockery becomes your crown. The strongest souls are not born in comfort. They are forged in the fire of ridicule. Today's lunatic becomes tomorrow's legend. They could mock you, call you mad, strip you of reputation, but they could never strip the purpose that burned within you. Every insult, every scoff, every dismissal was not proof of your weakness. It was proof of their fear. And now look at them. The laughter that once filled the air has dissolved into silence. The certainty they clung to, fragile as a crumbling wall, now shakes beneath them. Because you, the one they ridiculed, were right all along. They never had power over you. All they ever wielded was noise, desperate noise, to drown out the truth that unsettled them. But truth does not beg. It does not need applause or validation. It waits, unyielding until time itself bows in recognition. And now that time has come. Every word they mocked, Every vision they scorned, every warning they laughed away, each has risen, undeniable and inescapable. They cannot hide. They cannot rewrite. Even their own memories betray them, dragging them back to every sneer, every insult, every denial. And now their disbelief has curdled into dread. Their smirks have collapsed into shame. For nothing is more terrifying than realizing the one they mocked was right from the beginning. History is littered with the bones of visionaries, those who saw before the world was ready, those whose sight cut too deep for dull minds to comprehend. You stand in that lineage.
And the silence of your enemies is your crown.
They called them insane. They cursed them as dangerous. Why? Because nothing shakes the comfortable more than one who refuses to bow before illusion. You were never meant to fade into the crowd. You were never destined for ordinary. The weight of your vision, the depth of your knowing, the fire in your soul, these were never burdens. They were marks, seals of something greater. But the blind will always fear the ones who see. You stand among giants, the misunderstood, the outcast, the mocked, those whose visions were branded madness until the world itself was forced to confess they were right. They endured the jeers, bore the exile, and yet history rewrote their names in gold. And now it is your turn. They will pretend now, pretend they never doubted, never sneered, never sought to break you in your lowest moments. But the past cannot be erased. You remember the insults, the betrayals, the nights of loneliness, when their voices grew louder than your own. Yet you did not fold. You did not bend. You held the line. And the very weight meant to crush you has now become your crown. You are not here for revenge. You are not here to convince them. You are here to stand as proof that truth cannot be silenced. As the living reminder that their laughter was never your weakness, but their fear made manifest. Let them feel the weight of regret. Let them choke on the echoes of their mockery. Let them face the reality that the one they called insane now walks ahead of them, untouched, unshaken, vindicated. You were never a lunatic crying into the void. You were a force unseen yet unstoppable. A voice that could not be buried. A storm they denied until its lightning split the sky above their heads. And now here you stand, watching as their illusions crumble to dust at their feet. You owe them nothing, not explanations, not forgiveness, not a place in your future. They had their chance. They made their choice. Number 4, when the future you saw becomes their nightmare. For the heaviest curse of vision is this: to see what others refuse to face until it is too late. They laughed when you spoke. They dismissed you as a fool lost in dreams. Every word was met with smirks, every warning reduced to noise. They could not imagine that the world they clung to was nothing but illusion, or that cracks had already begun to spread beneath their feet. But truth has never needed their belief. It does not beg. It does not bend. It stands undeniable, unshakable, and now it rises before them, a force they can no longer ignore. Their laughter has thinned into whispers. Their arrogance has withered into uncertainty. Because everything you declared, everything they mocked, is now reality. You were never speaking nonsense. You were never lost. You saw what they refused to see. And for that, they tried to bury you. For nothing is more dangerous to the blind than the one who sees. They think this moment is new, but it is not. History has always repeated this pattern. The weight of truth has crushed those unprepared to carry it. Every breakthrough was met first with resistance. Every revelation, first with mockery. The ones who shift the course of the world are always branded as fools until the world is forced to admit they were never fools at all. And so you stand now, not in shame, not in self-doubt, but in vindication. The silence of your doubters roars louder than their laughter ever did. Their fear is heavy, thick in the air. For when reality proves you right, there is no escape, no running, no hiding, no pretense strong enough to cover the truth. They are left drowning in their own denial, asking themselves how they missed it, how they ignored the signs, how pride blinded them. But that burden is not yours to carry. You were never here to make them comfortable. You were never here to persuade them. You were here to see, to know, to move forward even when they refuse to walk beside you. And now, let them watch. Let them sit among the ruins of their illusions, struggling to accept what was always there right in front of their eyes. You owe them nothing. Not explanations. Not apologies. Not even a glance over your shoulder. You were never crazy, you were always chosen. Number 5, when the universe speaks, the blind call it coincidence. To the ordinary, it is just a fleeting moment. To the chosen, it is a message etched into your spirit long before others could begin to comprehend. You saw the patterns. The whispers of the universe wove themselves through your days like a hidden thread, pulling you toward something greater while others stumbled blind to the signs at their feet. You felt the shifts, the unspoken messages, the echoes from realms beyond the surface. They call it coincidence. You know better. The dreams, the symbols, the synchronicities, they were never random. They were blueprints, roadmaps carved into your soul before they took form in the physical. Vivid glimpses of places you had never stepped, yet somehow remembered. Faces you had never met, yet instantly recognized. Events that played out in your spirit before they unfolded in time. And whenever doubt tried to creep in, the universe answered with another sign so precise, so undeniable, it silenced every question. But the blind will always search for excuses. It's just imagination. It's just a dream. It's just coincidence. Just becomes their shield, their comfort, their denial. Because to admit the truth would shatter the fragile illusions they cling to. Yet deep down, they feel it. They feel it when you speak, when you move, when your very presence enters the room. Your energy disrupts their false reality, forces them to glimpse the truth they have spent their lives avoiding. That is why they dismiss you. That is why they cling to their doubt. Because if they acknowledge you were right, they must finally face everything they have run from. You never needed their validation. You never did. The universe does not waste its voice on those unwilling to listen. It speaks only to the ones chosen to hear, to act, to see. And that is why your path was never ordinary. That is why your mind could never be satisfied with shallow distractions. That is why the signs pursued you again and again until you surrendered to the truth. You were never meant to mirror them. You are not lost. You are being led. Every number, every pattern, every dream has been part of a design carved just for you. The only question left is this: will you listen? Number 6. When you see what others ignore, you walk alone. Awakening is no gift wrapped in comfort. It is a fire.
A fire that burns illusions to ash and leaves you standing in a world that no longer feels like home.
You were never like them. They passed through life blind, wrapped in noise and distraction. You did more than look you saw. You felt the subtle shifts. You traced the patterns. You heard the messages others could not name, woven into the fabric of reality. They called it coincidence. You knew better. For truth speaks in a language only the brave can bear. To understand it requires more than sight. It demands a questioning mind, a listening soul, a heart strong enough to carry what others deny. Every flicker of intuition, every haunting déjà vu, every sign too precise to dismiss none of these were accidents. They were the universe speaking to you. And while others shrugged, you paid attention. You were never wandering. You were being guided. They will never grasp what it means to see beneath the surface, to feel the tug of something greater, to sense the storm before it forms, to know without knowing why. The world is saturated with messages, some hidden in plain sight, others engraved deep within your spirit. And you, chosen one, were built to perceive them all. Most will never see. They are too consumed by distraction, too afraid of what true awareness demands. But you were built for this. To glimpse the future before it arrives is both blessing and burden. You have carried the weight of knowing truths too heavy for those around you to bear. You have seen the tides shift before they rose, felt the tremors of reality before they shook the earth, stood at the very edge of time itself. And for this, they called you delusional. They dismissed your warnings, ridiculed your insight, and tried to convince you your gift was a curse. But tell me, who was truly blind? The one who saw, or the ones who refused to open their eyes? This path was never meant for the faint-hearted. It requires restraint, wisdom, an unshakable spirit. For you cannot force the blind to see. You cannot make them embrace what they are terrified to confront. So you walk alone. Yet solitude is not emptiness, it is refinement. The furnace where the unbreakable is forged. You were never here to be understood. You were here to understand. Let them call you names. Let them question. Let them doubt. It changes nothing. The truth has already stamped itself upon your soul, and no denial can erase it. Number 7. Knowledge is a curse when fools rule the world. The blind do not despise the seer. Because they doubt him, they despise him because they fear he is right. The weight is not only in knowing, it is in deciding. Deciding when to speak, when to remain silent, when to let them walk headlong into the destruction they swore would never come. You have learned the hard lesson. Truth is not merely unwelcome, it is hated. The world does not cherish those who pierce the illusion it crucifies them. You saw the storm forming before the first raindrop fell. You spoke, you warned, you laid the map in front of them. And still they laughed. They mocked. They turned your truth into a joke, not because it was false, but because their fragile pride could not survive it. To accept your words would be to admit they were wrong.
And the weak would rather drown in their delusions than confess their blindness.
So you stayed silent. You let time unravel. And as the days passed, the very things they mocked you for stood revealed as undeniable reality. And what did they do? Did they apologize? Did they admit you were right? No, they panicked. They scrambled to cover themselves, pretending they always saw it coming, as though history itself had not recorded their mockery. Now their arrogance has decayed into fear. The one thing they dismissed, the one thing they thought they could bury, has become the one thing they cannot escape. That is the heaviest part of the burden, not just knowing the truth, but watching them destroy themselves with their own blindness. Watching their smirks collapse into silence. Watching disbelief choke them as reality strikes harder than your words ever could. Watching them face what they swore would never come, and realizing you were never the fool they were. Understand this, their rejection of you was never about logic. It was never about evidence. It was always about control. To admit you were right would mean they had to change. And weak minds fear change more than they fear destruction. That is why they fought you so violently. That is why they mocked, ridiculed, and tried to shatter you.
It was never about disproving truth, it was about silencing you.
They wanted you to doubt yourself, to question your own vision, to shrink, to fall in line. But you did not. You endured. You bore the weight of their ignorance on your back, and you walked through the fire unbroken. And now look at them lost, terrified, silent. For when truth arrives, it does not ask permission. It does not knock politely. It breaks the door down, and you vindicated, unshaken, unchained stand on the other side. You do not need their approval. You do not need their apologies. You never did. Number 8, their laughter was loud, but your victory is louder. Mockery is the weapon of the weak. Silence is the armor of the strong. And when truth rises, the only sound left is the echo of their regret. They laughed. They called you delusional, a fool lost in fantasies. They twisted your words, distorted your truth, and tried to make you doubt yourself. They needed you to be wrong. Because if you were right, then their entire world was built on lies and their fragile minds could not survive that revelation. So they laughed louder, pointed fingers, and wrapped themselves in denial. But the thing about truth is this: it does not bend to mockery. It does not vanish when ignored. It simply is. And as time has unfolded exactly as you foresaw, their laughter has withered into silence. Look at them now. The same voices that once sneered now sit in uneasy quiet. Their certainty cracked, their arrogance broken. They cannot laugh anymore because they cannot deny what stands before them. The world itself is shifting, aligning with the very things they once called nonsense. And you, the one they ridiculed, stand tall, untouched, unshaken. You never needed their validation. While they wasted their breath, you endured in silence. Because real power does not argue, it waits. It watches. It lets time bear witness. And now, time has spoken. Let them carry the weight of their ignorance. Let them wrestle with the shame of their denial. You do not need to speak a word. Your existence is the proof. You were never just a wanderer chasing meaning. You were never just a dreamer lost in wild visions. You were chosen, set apart, built differently, gifted with sight they could never claim. That alone made you dangerous in their eyes, because nothing unsettles the blind more than one who refuses to close their eyes. And now they scramble. They twist, they downplay, they rewrite the past. But beneath the noise they know. They feel it. And no denial can erase the truth. The one they scorned was the one who saw clearly all along. Stand in your power. You owe them nothing, not explanations, not apologies, not permission to rewrite history. Let them sit in silence. Let them taste regret. This is not their moment. It is yours. Number 9. The moment truth strikes when their doubt turns to fear. They laughed once because they did not understand. But now they do, and the laughter has died. At first, the signs were too faint, too easy to dismiss. They ignored the patterns, brushed aside the warnings, ridiculed the very thought that something greater could be real. But you saw it. Long before they sensed a tremor, you felt the shift. It was never a guess, never a hunch, it was knowing, carved deep into your bones. They called you paranoid, delusional, a dreamer chasing shadows. But reality does not wait for belief. And now it has come towering before them, casting long shadows across the fragile illusions they clung to. You see it in their faces, the stiffness in their stance, the nervous glances,
The silence that lingers too long.
Their arrogance is gone, replaced by something far more fragile, doubt. And doubt is a seed that grows into fear. The very weapon they used against you, the disbelief they hurled at your face, now coils within them, gnawing at their minds. They replay your words, your warnings, the crazy visions they mocked. And with every memory, the realization presses heavier. You were never crazy. You were right. This is the shift. The moment the tables turn, not with loud confessions, not with desperate apologies, but with silence. A silence that screams louder than mockery ever could, for now they have no words. They do not know how to face you. They cannot reconcile the truth that the one they dismissed as a fool now stands clothed in undeniable reality. And what are you now? Not merely an outcast, not merely a dreamer. You are something they cannot define, cannot ignore, cannot erase. You are proof that their reality was built on denial, and nothing terrifies them more than that. So they pretend. They act as though they never doubted, as though they always knew. But deep down, they know the truth, and so do you. You never needed their belief. You never needed their validation. The truth was always yours to carry. And now that it has unfolded before their eyes, all they can do is watch. Number 10. When truth rises, their lies collapse. They thought their laughter could drown your voice, but now their silence is the confession that you have already won. And here you stand unshaken, unbothered, unbreakable. You see it in their eyes, the quiet admission of defeat. After all the mockery, the ridicule, the arrogance they know, they spent their energy trying to twist your words, trying to bury your vision. But truth is not a whisper. It is a force. And when it rises, nothing can hold it back. Their denial crumbles. Their ignorance shatters. Their illusions collapse. The moment reality aligned with the very words they called nonsense, the battle ended. This was never about proving them wrong. It was about standing firm in what you knew was real. You carried truth through fire, through loneliness, through storms of disbelief. And now, beyond their mockery, you stand in full alignment with your purpose, untouchable, undeniable, unstoppable. Not because they finally see it, but because you never let go of it. Their silence is not your victory. Your strength is the unwavering conviction that carried you through the storm, the resilience that held you upright when the world tried to shatter you. For in the end, it was never about them. It was always about you. About trusting yourself when no one else did. About holding your ground when the entire world tried to push you off it. This was the moment they feared the collapse of their illusions, the unveiling of the truth they mocked. And now that moment is here. The mouths that once spat against you have fallen quiet because reality does not seek their permission. It simply is. You owe them nothing, not explanations, not forgiveness, not a place in your journey. They had their chance to listen. They chose laughter instead. And now that laughter has withered into regret. But regret cannot rewrite history. It cannot erase the doubt, the dismissals, the betrayal. It cannot change the fact that you walked this road alone, carrying the weight they tried to bury you with. And still, you did not waver. This is your power, the strength to see beyond what was handed to you. The courage to stand in a world built on falsehood, the resilience to keep moving when no one walked beside you. And that is something they will never understand. So let them sit in their silence. Let them wrestle with the weight of their disbelief. You have already won. Number 11, they called you a fool. Now they cannot even meet your eyes. The loudest mockers have become the quietest whispers. That is the sound of regret. The same ones who ridiculed you, dismissed you, and named you delusional now avert their gaze. They cannot face the reflection of truth in your presence because it condemns them without you saying a word. Their silence is deafening. Their unease is unmistakable. They thought they had you figured out, just another misguided dreamer, just another voice to ignore. But reality does not bend to ignorance. The truth you carried, the truth they rejected, now stands tall, undeniable, unshakable. Look at them. They fidget. They hesitate. They avert their eyes when you pass, hoping you will not see the shame etched across their faces. They will not admit it, but you can feel it, the weight of realization pressing on their chests, the bitterness of knowing they were wrong. But this moment is not about rubbing it in. You do not need to say, "I told you so." The truth has spoken on your behalf. You were never chasing validation. You never needed their approval. What you saw, what you felt, what you knew, it was never for them. It was always for you. And now the doubt that once burdened your spirit has lifted. You were not mistaken. You were not imagining. You were never lost. You were ahead. Some will now approach you hesitant, cautious, seeking the answers they once mocked. The same mouths that called you crazy will come searching for guidance. Others will try to rewrite history, pretending they never doubted, hoping you do not remember their laughter.
And some will cling to silence, too proud to admit they were wrong.
Let them. Their denial is no longer your concern. You do not need their recognition. You do not need their apologies. You do not need their acceptance. Truth requires no permission to exist. And you have outgrown the hunger for their understanding. What matters now is the path ahead, the purpose that has always pulled you forward, the calling that never wavered, no matter how loud the world tried to drown it out. You were never meant to be one of them. You were never meant to blend in. You were always meant to stand apart, to seize, to carry, to lead. You were always set apart. And now, as the illusion crumbles around them, you step forward stronger than ever. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them struggle to process what has already been written. You have nothing left to prove. You were never the fool they claimed you to be. Number 12. When the doubters fall silent, your purpose speaks louder than ever. They laughed once because they did not understand. Now they are silent because they finally do. Their silence is not your victory. It is the proof you never needed their validation at all. The weight of their doubt, their laughter, their rejection, it was never meant to define you. It was meant to refine you. And now with every step forward, you leave them behind. Not out of spite, but because they were never meant to walk this path with you. There is nothing left to prove, no arguments to win, no need to justify yourself to shallow minds who never had the depth to understand you. Their disbelief was never your burden. Their ignorance was never your responsibility. You were never speaking for them, you were speaking for yourself. And now, as reality bends to align with your words, as truth unfolds in ways they can no longer deny, you do not turn back to gloat. You do not waste breath on "I told you so." You simply move forward. Because this was never about them. It was always about you. Within you beats the heart of a warrior, untouched by ridicule, unbroken by doubt. While they clung to illusions, you clung to something greater. Something beyond logic, beyond reason, beyond the fragile safety of shallow understanding. You carried what they could not. And now, you stand where they never will. This connection, this unbreakable link to something vast and infinite, has carried you through the darkest nights and the loneliest battles. When their voices tried to drown you out, this force whispered back, "Keep going, keep believing, keep standing." They never understood what fueled you. They mistook it for arrogance, for delusion, for stubbornness. But it was never any of those things. It was knowing a knowing so deep, so absolute, that no laughter, no rejection, no mockery could shake it. And that knowing is what makes you unstoppable. Strength was never the absence of fear. It was never about never doubting or never questioning. True strength is standing firm despite fear. True strength is pressing forward when every force around you insists you should stop. And you have done this again and again. You bore the sting of mockery, the ache of isolation, the exhaustion of walking alone. And yet here you are, still standing, still rising, still walking the path they never had the courage to take. Now there is a presence in you, undeniable and unshakable. They feel it when you enter a room, though they cannot name it. They hear it in your voice, though they cannot explain it. They see it in the way you carry yourself, though they dare not admit it. They do not understand, but they cannot deny it. You were never made to blend in. You were always meant to lead. So let them remain silent. Let them sit with regret. Let them wrestle with the truth that the one they mocked has become the one they now watch in awe. Their journey is not your concern. Their opinions no longer matter. Your task now is singular. Keep moving forward. Number 13. They tried to break you, but all they did was sharpen your edge. Gold is not afraid of fire.
A diamond does not shrink beneath pressure.
And the chosen do not crumble under the weight of doubt. They thought their words would shatter you. They believed the laughter, the whispers, the rejection would weaken your resolve. They assumed that if they mocked you enough, pushed you hard enough, ignored you long enough, you would collapse. They wanted you to silence yourself. They wanted you to erase the very thing that made you different. But what they never understood is this: pressure does not destroy the strong, it refines them. Fire does not consume the chosen, it purifies them. You were never set apart for approval. You were never meant for easy acceptance. Those truly chosen walk a road carved from solitude, resistance, and flame. You were not merely given a gift, you became it. Every insult was a chisel. Every doubt was a hammer. And with every strike, they did not destroy you, they revealed you. The illusion of needing their validation has burned away. The false comfort of blending in has dissolved. What remains is something unshakable, something undeniable. They will never understand you. Not because you are lost, but because they are. Their world is built on illusions, and they cannot fathom one who refuses to live inside the same dream. They stumble through life with closed eyes, mistaking ignorance for safety, mistaking conformity for wisdom. And you, refined by fire, sharpened by pressure, stand as proof that they were wrong all along. And when someone like you appears, someone who sees it terrifies them. That is why they try to strip you down. Not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous to the illusion they cling to. A single flame can expose the dark, and you are not a candle. You are the wildfire they cannot contain. You never needed their recognition. You never needed their approval. What you carry is deeper, older, unstoppable. This is not a path you stumbled upon. This is written into your very soul. You do not follow a calling, you embody it. Every step you take, every truth you bear is a living testament to the power running through you. The world will always resist those who carry truth. It will always try to break those who stand apart. But you are beyond their reach now. Let them talk. Let them sneer. It no longer matters, for when they look at you, they do not see someone fragile. They see someone they failed to destroy. Number 14, from rejection to power, the fire that forged you. They hurled stones to shatter you, but each one only sharpened your edge. They thought their mockery would weaken you. They thought their laughter would silence you. They thought rejection would erase you. But they were wrong. Pressure does not destroy the strong. It refines them. Fire does not consume the chosen. It purifies them. And their ridicule, their denial, their doubt, it only burned away what was temporary, leaving behind what is eternal. You stand now indestructible.
What they tried to bury has risen unshaken.
What they tried to silence has become a roar. What they tried to reject has become power. And in that power, you walk forward untouchable, undeniable, unstoppable. What they never understood is that every rejection, every insult, every moment they cast you aside was never punishment. It was preparation. The more they tried to tear you down, the more you were forced to build yourself from the inside out. You learned to lean on something deeper than their approval. You learned to trust your own knowing, your own strength, your own path. Where others collapsed under the weight of rejection, you became unshakable. They wanted you to break, yet you transformed. They wanted you to disappear, yet you became impossible to ignore.
This journey was never meant to be easy.
Those who carry truth always walk through fire. But that fire was never sent to consume you. It was sent to cleanse you, to strip away illusion, to burn off the need for validation, to free you from the weight of their opinions. Every battle, every scar, every moment of solitude, it all shaped you into who you are now. Someone untouchable, someone undeniable. Look at you now. The same mouths that once laughed are silent. The same voices that mocked now watch in awe. And deep down, they know they never had power over you. They only had noise. And noise fades. You owe them nothing. No explanations. No forgiveness. What you owe is to yourself the recognition of what you have survived and what you have become.
For the mockery that was meant to break you has become the very foundation of your strength.
Let them live with their regret. Let them wrestle with their realization. That weight is no longer yours to carry. Number 15, the awakening of the unbreakable. A blade is not born sharp. It is beaten, burned, and broken until it becomes unstoppable. And so it has been with you. You were beaten down, ridiculed, cast aside. They thought they were breaking you. They thought rejection would bury you. But every blow was only shaping you. Every insult was a hammer. Every doubt was fire. Every moment of isolation was a test. And through it all, you did not shatter. You became unbreakable. They thought their words would define you. That if they called you crazy enough times, you would start to believe it. That if they left you in silence long enough, you would crawl back begging for their approval.
But they underestimated the truth. You were never built to be like them.
You were never meant to fit inside their hollow world. The struggle was never your downfall. It was your ascension. And now, as you stand in your full power, you see what they never could. Every trial was a gift. Every lonely battle, every night of doubt, every scar fuel for the fire that carried you here. They did not break you. They built you. Their mockery was never a curse. It was a purification. The fire that burned away weakness. The pressure that forged you into something untouchable. And now, the energy has shifted. The one they tried to destroy is the one who now stands beyond their reach. And the truth, you carried the truth they laughed at, denied, and tried to erase, has risen, undeniable, unstoppable, manifest, before their very eyes. They see it now taking shape, unfolding in ways they can no longer deny. And it haunts them. The reality they swore was impossible now stares them in the face. But this is no longer about them. It is about you. You are not here to beg for validation. You are not here to waste strength proving yourself to those who were never meant to understand. You are here to stand, to lead, to be the beacon you were always destined to be. For when a single light shines, it carries the power to ignite fire in others, and that fire is spreading. Your journey, once ridiculed, once dismissed, has become a force too powerful to ignore. It unsettles those who mocked you.
It awakens those who slept.
The ripple spreads. The impact grows. And though they will pretend now that they always believed, though they will try to align themselves with you once the truth is undeniable, you remember. You remember who you were when no one stood beside you. You remember the silence you endured, the loneliness you carried, the battles you fought with no applause. And it is that version of you, the one who refused to break, that has brought you here. That version of you is the reason you now stand unshaken, a living testament to truth that cannot die. This is your time. Your power is no longer hidden, no longer buried beneath doubt or pain. It stands now undeniable, unstoppable. The truth is clear. What they once mocked has become reality. You were never lost, never broken, never delusional. You have always been rising, always transforming, always becoming. Their laughter has died into silence. Their doubt has curdled into unease. But you do not need their recognition. You never did. If this message resonates with you like this video, subscribe and drop 77 in the comments to claim your power. Share this with others who need to hear it, because the more we rise, the harder it is to silence us. The chosen ones are no longer in hiding. We are here. We are rising. And nothing can stop what has already begun.